welcome to another episode of Dear Me Podcast, brought to you by About the Voice. And my name, of course, is Omomi, and I am your host. And today is a happy day. Every day is a happy day, actually. But then you can sense from the tone of my voice that there's a lot of energy in the room. Anyways, today I would like to first off ask how you are, because that is what I always do. And it is because I care, and because, of course, as I always say, it's important that we are accountable. And so you as a young person, how are you doing? Have you been able to balance your life? Have you been able to ensure that on all areas or in all areas of your life you are working and you are moving and you are making progress? And so I'd like you to look at your life over the past, should I say 7 to 8 or 10 weeks? This is the 10th episode of Dear Me Podcast. And so this is the 10th week of us talking or speaking with each other consistently. And so over these 10 weeks, has there been any improvement in your life? If you've not been able to make any improvement or changes, or if you've not noticed any progress, that means there is something that you are not doing right, and you should work on that. Anyways, I'm going to start today with, should I say a short story, or should I say paint a scenario or something? So earlier this evening, a sibling of mine sent something to our group, and it was a link to a particular opportunity. And one thing that just caught my attention, of course, it's something that always happens, it's something that we always see when links to opportunities, especially opportunities that require you applying, are being shared. But then I don't know, it just came to my mind. It just caught my attention in a different way today. And it's the specification of the age limit or the age group of people that can apply for that particular opportunity. And I think what was stated there was between the ages of 18 to 35. Now, of course, there are opportunities out there that the specifics or the age specification or the age limit would be probably from 9 to 14. And what was coming to my mind is how time flies, and how things that you feel like you can be lackadaisical about, you can take life on serious about, and all of that, how with time you would no longer be able to access such opportunities. I hope you understand. So as a young person, for instance, there was a particular time when you could apply for opportunities that was for people from ages 9 to 14. And now when these opportunities come, no matter how good you are, no matter how ready you are, no matter how much you would be able to ace or get that opportunity, you would not be able to apply. Why? Because you are no longer within the age of 9 to 14. And so that is life. So that's why when I come on Dear Me Podcast and I'm talking about the essence of time, why you should take your life seriously, why you should do this, why you should do that, sometimes it might be like as if I'm talking a lot. But the thing is, time is going, time is ticking. Before you know it, you would fall under the age of 18 to 24. And then when you are 25, the opportunities that is open for people from 18 to 24, you would not be able to apply for them. And then on and on and on and on, time keeps going. So as a young person out there, are you harnessing your time as you are 18? Now, don't be jumping up and down. Omble, oncho, la 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 la. Or how do they say those things? Is that what you are doing about? Time is ticking. Make sure that you are making absolute and the best use of your time as a young person, because before you know it, you would not be able to access certain opportunities. Anyways, that is just a heads up. That is not what I have come to discuss today. What I have come to discuss today is, as a young person, what are the skills that you need to learn for you to be job ready or entrepreneurship ready, or to be ready for this digital age or time that we are in. So I'm just going to be listing 7 of these skills, and I want you to pay attention. And just 7 of them. But before I start listing 7 of them, I would like to say this. Okay, yeah, it's part of the 7. The first one is your digital literacy. A lot of you fine girls, fine boys, handsome bobo, handsome girl, you don't know how to use a computer. you do not, you are listening to me, fine girl, fine boy, but you do not know how to use a computer. All you know how to do is use your phone, do TikTok, Snapchat, and all of that. I'm not saying it is bad though, but then let's, I in this particular episode, I'm going to try to be as candid and as honest as possible. Now, in this age where we are, even knowing how to use a computer is even a dangerous zone to be in. So imagine you don't even now know how to use a computer, where people that even know how to use computers are in danger. You that you don't now know how to use a computer, what are you are in? You are in soup. You are in hot soup, Abby. Anyways, so of course, because a lot of people who understand how computers are being used and all of that, they say that they are at the verge of losing their jobs because artificial intelligence is changing the way work is being done. And a lot of people are afraid. And these are people who even know how to use a computer. So imagine you don't even know how to use a computer. Then how would you even know about artificial intelligence in the first place? And you are there. Maybe a lot of you are just comfortable. You are shining your teeth. You are smiling and all of that because your daddy, your mommy, or maybe one rich auntie abroad or somewhere is still giving you money. My dear, you would not be dependent on someone forever. So the faster you started to learn, to take your own life seriously, the better for you, because it is not every time. Wait now, maybe you're in the university already. When you graduate, you will see. When you start collecting, let's say, copper alawi or something, except for those of you who have maybe, let's say, you have very rich parents and all of that, and they would link you up and all of that. And even if your rich parents would link you up, a lot of times, if you do not even have the skills relevant or necessary to function in a certain in a particular job, should I say in a particular job title or something, let's just leave that English like that. If you do not have the skills necessary, you're going to be a liability or a problem to whatever company or place you are recommended to work in or work at. And so you see, you're just going to keep being a problem to yourself, and you're going to keep being a problem to those who are helping you. And so as a young person, you don't want to be that adult that is frustrated because the things that you're made to know at a particular stage in your life, you are still struggling with it. And although you have a lot of opportunities, you have a lot of people that help you, you make it difficult because each time you're being recommended for a job or each time you're being given an opportunity, you fail at it or you sulk at it or you just do the job in such ways that maybe because the person that recommended you has the upper hand in the company or so, and they cannot fire you, but they are just managing you. And so you see, it is not a good place to be. Whether you have a rich uncle or a rich dad or a rich mom or any of that, it is important that as a young person you are grounded. Anyways, we are already 8 minutes into the podcast. So digital literacy is very important. Go and learn how to make use of a computer properly and begin to take courses that teaches you how artificial intelligence is being used. A very, very lovely place where you can learn how artificial intelligence is used is you can go online and you can use Udemy, you can use Coursera, you can just search for AI essentials for work and all of that, and they would bring out courses that you can do. Or for me, I like to recommend ALX, that is African Leadership Academy or University Academy Ventures, ALX Ventures online, where there's an array of skills that you can learn on online. And I think now they charge a fee of $5, which is actually not a lot of money, which you can pay just to learn that, or you can just go on Udemy and learn for free. Just make sure that you are vast or you are conversant with the use of artificial intelligence. So for you that does not even know how to use computer, go and start learning it too, and be learning how artificial intelligence is used alongside. Now, another skill that you can learn or that you need to learn is communication skills. Communication skills is very, very important. It's important that you learn how to communicate. And now, being able to communicate is not just only about your pronunciation, your word pronunciation, or how much phonetics you can speak, or how much English you can blow, or how much grammar you can blow. Sometimes, or a lot of times, you might be able to blow grammar, but then you might not be passing information. you might not be passing information across to people. So it is basically how you are able to express yourself and express yourself clearly, such that if you are talking to someone, whether it is through a phone call or it's through physical talk, or you are writing an email or you're writing a letter or anything, it's just you being able to communicate or to pass information across clearly, such that people can understand you in whatever mode of communication that you are using. And so it also includes listening. How well do you listen? In case you have issues with listening, maybe you hear people speak a lot of times and it's very difficult for you to decipher, to understand what they are saying, it is something that you need to work on. And do not forget, listening is different from hearing. Listening is different from hearing. Being able to hear what someone is saying does not necessarily mean that you understand what they are saying. So listening is deeper than just hearing what someone is saying. And so in case you have issues with that, you find it hard to understand what people say, you find it hard to grasp information and all of that, you might want to work on your listening. Maybe it's that you're being distracted, or maybe there are just one or two things that you need to work on. So it's important that you work on your communication skills. And also communication skills, how well do you carry people along? Let's say, for instance, you're placed in charge of a certain group of people, and let's say you want to carry out a project. And communication skills is you being able to carry these people along. Some people would be doing something in a team of 10. They are the leader or they are the head. And it is only them that knows what is going on in that particular and at a particular time. They don't know how to send emails. It doesn't occur to them to send emails to say, okay, this is what I want to do. Let's say, for instance, you work at an office and maybe you would not be around for certain unavoidable reasons and all of that. Communication skills, emotional intelligence, all of these things will tell you that, okay, I'm going to be having an engagement, let's say 3 or 4 days from now. I need to inform my boss or my superior 5 days before the time, or 1 week before the time, or at least 3 days before the time, so that I can give them or give him or give her a heads up that I will not be available at this time. Please, so that whatever needs to be put in place in your absence will be put in place. That is communication. So all of these things are important. In case you don't really understand how all of these things work, this is a skill that you need to work on as a person. And I mentioned emotional intelligence. How do you communicate with people? Are you the type that you're always angry? There are ways that you talk that really piss people off and all of that. All of these things boil down to communication skills. I think I'm going to be breaking this particular segment into 2. So for episode 10, I'll be talking about 4 of these skills. And then for episode 11, which would be for next week, I'll be talking about the remaining 3 skills. Or maybe I might just be adding 1 bonus or 2 extra, and so that we can talk about these skills that needs to be learned. And so when it comes to communication skills, you can learn, for instance, you can go to Coursera. For those of you that do not know what Coursera is, it is an online platform where you can take courses for free. So Coursera is spelled Coursser. So you can just write Coursera and then you will see it come up in your browser, and then you pick. Usually it's the first thing that you see when you Google this. That is the site to this website. That is the correct link, I beg your pardon, to this website that I'm talking about. So you can just go on Coursera and say you want to learn communication skills, and then a lot of suggestions are going to come out, and then you can pick one and learn. All these things are important. In fact, this is something that AI cannot take from you. Communication skill, AI cannot take it. You understand? So you have to learn this. It is important. And so if you want to learn public speaking, maybe you usually have issues with talking in public, standing before people, expressing yourself and all of that, something you need to do is to learn to watch people who know how to do these things and then practice alongside. A very good site that I recommend is TEDx. You can go on TEDx on YouTube and you can watch how these public speakers talk. You can see how they communicate and all of that, and then before you know it, see, sometimes it's not really about cramming or anything. Just by consistently watching just by consistently watching these people, impacts, like something is being impressed in you. How do I put it? It's been you are being imparted in one way or the other, and then you will just see that when an opportunity to speak comes, you are just better at it, and you'll be wondering how, when. It's because you've invested in listening to people who do these things well. I hope you understand. And of course, it's also important that you deliberately practice in front of your mirror, in front of people. Try to talk to two persons. If you're in a group of two, try to talk there. Try to give your opinion, ask questions on all of that. And then before you know it, you're in a group of 5. You're able to share your opinion. In a group of 10, you're able to share your opinion. Before you know it gets to 20. And before you know, you're able to talk in front of a lot of people. So this is how to go about it. And so for those of you out there, I think I've mentioned this before in one of the episodes. Never say never. Do not be afraid. Your weaknesses, for you to overcome your weaknesses, you need to face them head on. You need to say, you need to start facing your fears, which is really, really, really important. And then this podcast is already long. This episode is already long, so I'm going to be talking on the third skill. The third skill that you need as a young person is financial literacy. My dear, financial literacy is very, very important. On some days, just go online, learn about investment. There is nothing that you cannot learn. Be curious, just like I said in one of the episodes. Curiosity is a very, very big tool for growth. So as a young person, you can just go online. There are people like, have you heard of Jack Ma? Have you heard of this man that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad? Robert Kiyosaki. What is the pronunciation of his name? All of these people, Otedola, right? Femi Otedola. All these people, they know about finances. They talk about business. They talk about all of these things. Be curious. Just watch their videos and learn. In fact, this is just one. There are a lot of them online that you can listen to. So you can learn about investment, you can learn about saving, you can learn about budgeting, you can learn about profit and loss, you can learn about a lot of all of these things. And so whether you want to be someone who does a white collar job, or you want to be an entrepreneur, all of these skills that I have mentioned are important. If, for instance, you are a CEO and you have poor communication skills, you're going to have issues with people who work under you. I hope you understand. So all of these things are really, really important. So do not say, I want to be working for myself. That is why your business will remain small, because you don't know how to communicate. If you're already working for yourself and you're making some money and you are looking to expand such that you will begin to have people work under you, your communication skills has to be top notch. Until you understand, so all of the skills that I am mentioning are very, very important that you learn. Anyways, next week I am going to be talking about the rest of the skills, my darlings. In fact, these other ones are really, really, really even important that you learn. So make sure that you're tuned in next week for episode 11 for the second part of skills that you need to learn as a young person if you're preparing for the future and you do not want to be stranded. If you are not yet following DME Podcast on Spotify or Apple or on Instagram or on YouTube, make sure that you do that now. And also please give this podcast a rating, and do not forget to recommend this podcast to young persons or people generally that you feel the conversations here will be relevant to. My guys, make sure that you give this podcast a rating. Make sure that you are following DME Podcast. If you're not, please do that now. All right, this is where I'll be wrapping it up. My name is Omowumi, and this podcast is brought to you by About the Voice, and we say that you are number one. Bye bye.